I want to ask you about focus. When did you not have focus?
Right before every single injury.
That's how dangerous it is not to have focus. What does it feel like when you have focus?
Everything kind of moves slower because you're taking your time. You're not rushing into anything, putting in your best effort every single try. You're taking a moment between each take, and then you tend to not get into your emotions as fast. And
Would you say it's like your energy is more gathered together, cohesive somehow?
yeah, if you have the right mindset and you're focused, you can make things happen quick. Your mindset is more on the positive always. And then you also realize, okay, maybe I shouldn't be trying this right now. You tend to listen more to yourself.
Can you give us an example of a situation where you experienced a consequence of having focus, like a specific moment?
Yeah, I had one time, I went to this skate spot. It was a pretty big spot, not something you really want to jump down on. And I remember I wanted to do my trick. We didn't have a lot of time, and so I wanted to do it pretty fast. But I wasn't really warmed up, and so I went out, and instead of just going to the spot and jumping down right away and just trying to make it happen, I took time to stretch. I took time to look at it, to analyze the speed I need, and also visualize myself landing it. It came all together so good that I ended up getting it within the first 5 tries, maybe on the fourth try, I think. It really happened when I visualized myself doing it. I felt what it would feel like to actually do it before doing it. It came into realization after I was able to do that. That's one of the times where I had the most focus for something pretty dangerous.
Coming back to the focus piece and a consequence of what happens when you are focused, it sounds like being able to visually see something and project it in your mind before you actually do it. That's If you can see yourself doing it, you're already projecting it.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
When you shared last time we talked, what sparked you, the skateboarding and, the whole journey, was a magazine article or a cover where you saw something or someone with a skateboard.
Yeah.
And you said, I could do that. That's me.
Yeah.
For me, that was an interesting thing because it sparked in me the connection with an incredible, extraordinary, I would say, ballet dancer who had the same experience. So I wanted to share that today. We're talking today about the focus, what it means to ride your energy, to understand when to respond to something and when to move away from it, when to stop, when to pursue something. All of these different things, these are qualities that a ballet dancer, they actually learn as a science, training their mind-body unit when they go through the classical dance education. They literally have to learn all these things. As we're talking, it's quite amazing. You basically, no matter what, you've had to kind of learn this on your own for most of your journey. There's not really been a manual for you. A lot of punches, a lot of blows. You've really just had to kind of rough it out on your own to understand some of these concepts. I think about the young kids that are following you and that want so much to ride their energy in this particular way, especially the skateboarding, how much they would benefit by being able to have classical ballet as an instrument that could actually show them. It's like a manual that could guide them to start to shape their energy before they get on that skateboard. They learn how to focus. They learn how to balance. They learn where their strength is and when to stop and when to move on or when to push through. So it's a very, very important and valuable instrument for us when we can actually learn to shape our own energy and not have to go through something like you've gone through and continue to go through, which is literally having to hit your head against the wall oftentimes and just learn it without any kind of conscious instruction. Ballet dancers, when they do go through this, and in order to be a ballet dancer and live the life of a ballet dancer, they literally have to live what we've been talking about on a constant basis. They can't really be out of balance. They can't really be out of focus. They have to be disciplined. They have to be aware of what they're eating, of what they're thinking about, of what they're focusing on practically every moment of every day, or else they can't do their job and they can't live the particular life that their job requires. They're literally having to live in a parallel world. Well, it's a physical world, it's a visible world, but vibrationally or energetically speaking, you could say they're living in a world that's a little bit more challenging and elevated than the rest of us. They can't just let go and do whatever they want and afford to do that and perform the way they do or stay in shape the way they do. And I'm sure that you know a lot about that because you're an athlete and an artist. You can't just let yourself go, not do certain things, not structure your day, not discipline your energy in certain ways. The person who came to mind when you were sharing last time, the magazine article that sparked you to get a sense of, yes, this is me and this is what I can do, is Michaela DePrince, a very interesting, exceptional dancer who also saw a magazine and basically ripped off the cover because she was in a place that she didn't even have anywhere to put it. She couldn't do much with it. It also came to her in the most unlikely circumstance in her life, which I think that it will give all of us hope. If someone can be in this kind of life situation and get this kind of piece of information literally blowing into their life and transform, then any of us can do it. We'll just walk through a little bit of her life and bring some of what we've been talking about together. This is Michaela DePrince. You inspired me with what you told me last time, and I remembered. Anyway, this remarkable ballet dancer, she was born in Sierra Leone, West Africa, and she was born in the mid-90s into basically a war-torn country. And she ended up actually losing her parents. So she basically was an orphan. She also had, and you can see this on her neck here, she had a skin condition. It's where you lose pigment in patches. It's called vitiligo. In her country, nobody understood what this means. And even as a young kid, she was basically teased and she was seen as cursed. And her parents knew that she would never be able to get married. So when her parents actually died because of the war, her uncle ended up giving her to an orphanage, knowing that he couldn't really sell her and get money for her for marriage because of her condition. And this is her when she was a little girl. She was given to this orphanage and they had aunties there. Aunties were basically trying to support their families, not like the aunties that we have, sisters of our parents, but basically these caretakers who were trying to make a living and take care of these orphans. And she was actually called number 27 because she was the least desirable child out of everyone in the orphanage, which means she got less food, she got the worst rags in terms of clothes. She was basically treated in a very bad way there. So she had a very, you could say, dark beginning, a very painful childhood. And she was seen as a cursed or devil's child because of her skin condition. You can see a little bit of this a picture from her orphanage, and you can see where she is in the back there. So one day, she says, one day a big wind threw a magazine right onto the gate at the orphanage. And she says, I reached out and I grabbed it and I saw something, this amazing creature, this person I've never seen before. And this is the actual issue of the magazine that she saw. This is the very cover that she saw. But what really struck me the most, she says, was that she looked so happy. So I thought to myself, if she's happy because this is what she's doing, then maybe I could be happy too someday. I had to be this person. I just had to be in order to become something, because she was incredibly, as you can imagine, unhappy, even as a little kid. And I'm sure that involves being hopeless. Here she is later in life. She's actually doing a 2017 NBC News interview, and she's holding the very issue of this magazine that she found outside the orphanage in Sierra Leone. It's actually a May 1979 Dance Magazine issue. So you can see that an older issue, that was 20 years old, that blew into the gate of this orphanage. Now, she also had a teacher there that came to teach the kids English, and the teacher happened to really start to care for her. But she ended up also losing this teacher to rebels one day on the territory. They were taking a walk with her teacher. She had started to have some hope. She was always twirling and standing on her tiptoes. And what happened was this teacher was pregnant, and the rebels decided to find out if it was a boy or a girl. And so they cut open her teacher's belly.
No way.
Yeah. And then they ended up cutting off the arms and the legs. I believe it was of her teacher, not of her baby, the way she describes it. And this little girl, Michaela, that was not her name back then, but this little girl, she tried to save her teacher. And there was this young rebel who was following basically in the footsteps of his older companions, who decided he wanted to try what they did, because they used a machete to cut open her teacher, her stomach and her limbs and everything. So this little rebel, this little kid, he decided he wanted to do to Michaela what his big brothers, in a sense, did to her teacher. And he basically used a machete and he cut open her stomach. So this is the picture of her life, first years of her life, and what she had to deal with. What happened was she was adopted by this American family. She and her best friend in the orphanage, who was number 26, they were literally the least two desirable kids in the orphanage, but they were best friends, and they got adopted against all odds. She practically didn't know any English, and she literally didn't know how to tell her new mother what she wanted, what her dream was. So she pulled this magazine cover out of her underwear and she showed her mother, and her mother immediately got it. And she said, "You will dance." And what happened was that she went on to this journey to become a ballet dancer. So you can see here what she has shaped into through her ballet training. I had tears many times during several of the episodes, the videos that I watched about her story. I was thinking, what is it that's making me cry? What is it that's touching me so much? And of course, it's always about when someone goes through so much pain and hopelessness and violence and darkness, to have this transformational experience. But I thought to myself, the tears almost go beyond that. It's almost as if when I look at someone like Michaela, it's like I'm seeing the definition of true beauty. We don't know what true beauty is. We really don't. And when I saw what she started to become, what she has shaped into, the internal energy of who she is and the purity that she still holds, and having to hold the pain and the memories that she still has to obviously work through, but what she has become through this instrument of ballet, what that has done to her mind and her body, I think the tears came from that, because to me, the classical ballet literally shaped the true beauty that she is, was able to pull that out of her and sculpt her into that. She knew when she saw that magazine cover that she connected, that she resonated. There's that word again that we talked about before. She resonated with something. It clicked, just like that magazine picture clicked for you. I'm that. I want to be that. I connect with that. Something deep in her soul knew it. I think that's what is the most touching, to see how this instrument was able to shape her true beauty. Most of us, we don't even understand what true beauty is. We're all chasing it. We all want to understand and feel beautiful. But what is true beauty? When I look at her, I see that, and what ballet was able to do with her and for her. And of course, not without her perseverance and strong will to want to do that, because she saw herself as that. That is what brings the awe out in me. Here she is with Beyoncé. She collaborated with her. She asked her to choreograph her own dance solo in the music video Freedom from her album. What was really touching at the end is she did a TED talk. I think it was 2014. And she says, why am I telling you this story? Because, the story is pretty poignant and pretty horrific. She says, because I want to encourage young people to aspire to dream. I want people to understand that it is okay to be different. It is okay to stand out. I'm different. And I want you to understand, to believe in yourself. Believe that you have talent, even if you don't think you do. I think that's such an important message to young people today, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
It's just so much what we need to hear, because so many of us, we don't think we're talented. We don't think we're strong. We don't think we can make it. We don't think we have much hope. She's saying, if you can look at my life and see what I've gone through and see where I am now and how I started, then you can do this. Here she is actually doing a Vogue layout in Germany, 2017, I think. She said, no matter what circumstances, this is still from the TED Talk, no matter what circumstance you're under, no matter how poor or how sad you are at any given moment, believe and dare to dream, dare to push boundaries, dare to be different. The dream aspect is very important here. Some of what you do, I think a lot of what you do actually, is when you visualize doing something, that is putting your dream out into a projected image, and then you are physically able to actualize it. It's so huge for us to be able to dream, don't you think?
Yeah, it's very important. Every kid should have dreams and should try and reach their dreams and reach their goals. Definitely important.
And to be able to imagine ourselves doing that. She's lost a lot of people if she cared about, starting with her parents, in the war. She talks in her interviews about her heart being closed up and having to basically go through a journey where she realized that she wants to open her heart again, being encouraged by people that loved her and came into her life later. She says, don't be afraid of living and loving. Don't stop living. Choose life. I see a lot of kids, a lot of young people, when they realize they can't reach their dreams or goals, they tend to close themselves off. And then it's more likely for them to really not be able to reach their dreams. So it's very important, and it's very moving to know her story like that, because I had no idea that that's what she went through, and it's the only other story I've ever heard that's kind of like mine. It's very moving. Yeah, that's amazing. That was amazing. I think looking at everything we spoke about makes a lot of sense, and I hope a lot of the young viewers who see this pay more attention to their energies and the focus they put into everything they do. Let's go the step further. Let's talk about how important it is to find an instrument like classical ballet that can actually shape our energy and teach us in a very orderly, proven way how to use our energy in a constructive and creative and powerful and beautiful way. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. A picture is worth 1,000 words. It's powerful. I'm glad that we were able to share that. The message to people everywhere, young people and anybody really watching, is that this is definition of what true beauty is, and that being able to shape our energy and consciously be aware of it and how to utilize it brings us to that place where we're able to feel and be beautiful. That was great. Just having this talk definitely has me remember all this stuff, because sometimes we tend to forget
as we go, and it's good to remind ourselves that we're in control and not everyone moves at the same pace. So just take your time and settle into your focus, your ritual, creating your art. Yeah, it was a great talk. I really enjoy it. It opens up thought.